Still churning, still churning. There we go. We are live. I am Scott with the Scotch Test Dummies. Bart is on his way. He should be here shortly. We are starting without him, which is funny because come to think of it, someone just asked me the other day, they said, which one of you is on time and which one is late? And I said, I'm the one that's 2 hours early and Bart is the one that's 10 minutes late. So you're witnessing it firsthand with us. One is late. And I said, I'm the one that's 2 hours I got to mute that. Bart is the one that's 10 minutes late. Hold on just a second. So you're witnessing it firsthand. I knew I would forget that. There we go. And I better mute my phone too, especially since Matt said to earlier. Steph Ridgway is joining us tonight with Old Pulteney. We're going to take a look at several of their offerings, and I'll hand it over. She's coming to us from Dallas, Texas, at Matt Zittrick's house with the Whiskey Crusaders. And go ahead, guys.
Hey, everybody. We're out having here. Thanks to have Steph Ridgway and Gordon Stevenson here. She's from New York, and he's from Scotland, joining us for Old Pulteney night, helping to start the new core lineup here for Old Pulteney in North America, which is awesome. So I'm really excited, and thanks for you guys joining us, and turn it over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Matt. This has been a while in the planning. We just had to find something cool enough. And I just figured Old Pulteney launching a brand new core range in the United States would fit the bill. So,
I'm very excited.
Yeah, everybody jumped on that. Before I get started, I want to make sure we get a chance to say hi to my colleague and dear friend, Gordon Stevenson, live from our office in Airdrie in Scotland. I figured, the only thing aside from possibly bacon that could make this night better would be to have a real live Scot. So I brought one along with me. I come to the game with my glove on. So you want to say, hey, Gordon?
Yeah. No, hi, guys. Scott, thanks for having us. Matt, thanks for having me here in your house as well. I'm a little concerned that you just turned off the fan.
We can turn the fan back on.
I've just come from Glasgow. This is a little bit different to Dallas, to say the least. But however, I was pretty pleasantly surprised. Today's not been too bad over here.
Yeah, you lucked out.
Yeah, it's been bearable.
Yesterday was a lot hotter. Today, not so bad.
Yeah, we actually this week kind of cooled down. We've been up in the low hundreds, and then 80, 88, I think, for the high today, and like 87 or so yesterday. So a little bit cooler.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I was only joking about the fan. You didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, fellas. I think it's time to start drinking whiskey. We're talking about weather and fans here. We're like trying to have an early bird dinner. I don't know what's going on. So you, my friend, are familiar with Old Pulteney, correct?
Steph, we did. It's been a while. We've reviewed the 12-year and the Navigator, and that was a while back. And it's funny, I can remember seeing the 17 and the 21 all the time, the old bottlings.
Right.
And the 21 I can remember seeing it for $135, and I always passed on it. I was always like, I'll get that later.
Silly boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Waiting on that. Yeah.
Joke's on you.
Which is funny, because the 17 and the 21, they both really seem to have their own cult following. I mean, there's a lot of people that love those two whiskeys.
Yes, and I count myself amongst that number. In fact, the Old Pulteney 17 is the expression that got me into Old Pulteney. When I signed my offer letter to come to work for International Beverage, I did it over a dram of Old Pulteney 17. Yeah. So this is a whiskey that's just very near and dear to me. And though, to your point, the 17 and the 21 have a huge cult following, they have been retired. Okay, so I can almost see all of the questions coming up now.
Yeah, let the comments begin.
The crying and so if you see it on the shelves, my advice to you is buy one, buy two. Call me, I'll buy the other one from you. So yes, but for good reason, not just because we felt like it, but we, just like any whiskey company, we manage our stock. We take a look at what the long term is, it holds in store for us. And, in order to be sustainable, we knew we were launching this new core range. And, when we look at what we had at hand, we had to make, the sustainable decision. Not to worry, because even though these two whiskeys, are making their way, sailing off into the archives, so to speak, the new 15 and the 18 have been blowing people's minds with every bottle that I popped. So I hope that sort of assuages everybody's soul a little bit when they think about it. But I think you're going to agree with me. We can pop these bottles and let the whiskey do the talking. So what we brought along
Yep.
for tonight to have is through the entire new core range, starting with the 12, which is not new, but it is. We've got a new pack on it, which I can lift up and show you for a minute, followed by the 15 year. Can we see that? Can you see the new pack of the new 12?
Yep. Sorry, I was thinking because I was looking at the literature, and the 12, you'll probably get into it, is the only one that's only ex-bourbon cask.
Yep.
And I think it was second fill ex-bourbon cask. The 15 and the 18 are ex-bourbon and sherry cask, which is my favorites.
That's where your palate lies. Okay, so you've got the 12. We've got the 15 that we've brought along here. We've also got the new 18. I'm not gonna divulge what makes this one so fun. We will when we get to it. But this is the new Huddart, and then I did pack a little something special in there for us to finish off with. That I think we'll just toast everybody when we get to the end. Okay.
Very nice. Yeah. And I saw in the literature what makes that one special. And so it's a good thing I didn't say something.
Well, you know what? There are about 75,000 things that make that one special. So we'll just get to it when we drink it. So, why don't we just get on with the business of cracking some bottles and talking about whiskey?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to start with the Old Pulteney 12 year. I think you gave a great lead up to the fact that it's all ex-bourbon, second fill. At 40% ABV, which I love because when I think of 40% ABV, what comes to mind immediately is session whiskey. Like I can just sit back and enjoy this one almost unencumbered, and it's got a wide range of appeal. So yeah, you look at 40 ABV, the finish might not be necessarily as long, when you get up there to 43 and 46, but this Old Pulteney 12, in my opinion, still has that almost like sea salted butterscotch caramel because it's a viscous, sticky whiskey. But again, I got their lead up. You guys, you care to join me in a little dram?
Yes, we need whiskey now. This is important.
This 12-year-old was the whiskey that got it all started for me. For anything, this is where I began my whiskey journey, and to me, it's still my benchmark. This is the one that you go back to, and this is where everything kind of comes. You rate it off that, and you think, that's it. The 12-year-old is where I began. That's the one I know the best. I just think you just can't miss with this.
Well, and really, I mean, when you look at most distilleries, their 12-year or their entry, I call it their entry level bottle, it's going to be 40%, maybe 43%. I mean, that's just where most people start out at.
And, if you're not aware, you've been to Scotland, but, we're located in the town of Wick. We're just almost as far north as you can possibly get on the mainland. If you walk out of our distillery door and say, walk 3 city blocks, if you take one more step, you fall off a cliff into the North Sea. Okay. Really, I'm not making that up. And we're waiting for him.
Bart's here.
Coming in
Hey.
hot.
Now the party can start. Hey, how you doing?
Boom, doing
right.
good.
So we got Matt, of course, Steph Ridgway in the middle, and Gordon Stevenson is on the right. He is from Glasgow.
Ooh, all right.
And but he works. I'm sorry, Gordon, what's your role again?
I work in sales primarily, so I cover sales for North America. So I spend a good amount of time over this side of the pond, so I rack up the air miles quite frequently.
Good. Now, who's Matt again? I don't know this Matt.
I don't know, Bart.
Let's get him a whiskey poured.
I got it poured. So we're starting. We've got the 12-year, the 15, the 18, the Huddart, and a special one to end with.
Beautiful.
That she didn't announce.
Just because we have such a proximity to the sea, we're affectionately known as the maritime malt. If it wasn't for our locale, we would not be who we are. It affects everything. I mean, 100 days out of the year, we've got 80-mile-an-hour winds whipping in off those cliffs. I mean, we're essentially hanging on for dear life on the side of a cliff, making arguably some of the most respected single malt in the world, right? But all of these casks, 25,000 of them at any given time, are aging up there in that sea salted atmosphere. So the sea really is going to affect every dram of Old Pulteney in a different way. For the 12, for me, it's just this beautiful brine on the nose. Like it's a whiff.
A sea salty, almost olive and lime.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little
on the lime. I don't know, olive.
Maybe even a little sardine.
Oh my! That's the salt.
Smoked sardine.
Well, we were the
Herring
largest
you're getting.
herring port in Europe up until about the turn of the century. So you might still be getting some herring residue on your nose there. Now, at any given day, we had like 1,000 boats in the harbor with herring. Yeah.
Wow.
Now we have one.
There was no road in or out either. So everything was by boat. So they were pretty out there.
If the next time you guys get across, if there's any way you want to make the trek up, you really let us know. You really, really should do yourselves a favor, and we'll hook you up with Malcolm Waring. He's a hoot. You're going to love him.
We like
and
hoot.
you'll have the time of your lives.
I'll tell you, we love the Inverness area, which was as far north as we went.
Well,
and we talked about if we go back and we might do like a Highland tour and just base out of Inverness so we can.
Well, you follow the signs for Inverness. You just head north. You cross the bridge. There's a sign to nowhere. You just follow that for about 2 hours. And just at that cliff that Steph talks about, there's a post that says, "Where the hell am I?" You're in Wick.
Yeah, and then turn right and you're at the distillery.
That's pretty much it.
Love it.
So this is the 12 year. It's 40%, and it's all ex-bourbon, second fill ex-bourbon. So what you should see is really a lot of the distillery characteristic coming through on this.
Yeah, very much so.
Again, I've of all of the old Pulteneys, to me, the 12 is the chewiest, stickiest one. I mean, you get it in there and you chew it and you can just feel it. You know, it just coats every inch of your mouth. And they say that a bad whiskey needs water and a good whiskey deserves it. Of all of them, this old Pulteney 12 is like a rock star with a wee drop of water. So I'm going to go ahead and do myself a favor on that.
Yeah.
It is really for 40% and 12 years. It is a rock star without it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's still
very surprising.
See the mouth still getting you get the
It's
salivates
rich.
going. You really get it going in the mouth. It really is chewy, as Steph says. A really long finish.
Yeah, a lot of the sea salt, the citrus,
You want water?
some vanilla. Yep, give me a drop.
I'll give you a better one.
Just a little splash. Perfect. Thanks.
Matt is a big proponent of having bacon during your tastings as well, and Sarah, the Whiskey Crusaders. So we do have our own bacon tonight.
We have some bacon here as well. Yum, yum, yum.
Try it. There's our bacon.
Courtesy of the Sarah and the Whiskey Crusaders.
No, and like I say, it's been a while since we did the old Pulteney 12, and it's very nice. It's very surprising.
But I say that 40%. It's a good session whiskey. It's a great introduction to the range. You know, it's affordable. I think the SRP on it floats right around $45.
Yeah.
You know, so it's going to be south of 50, which these days, quite frankly, you know, a solid 12 south of 50. You know, it ticks off a lot of boxes.
Yeah, it is a great place to get started. You know, people who are whiskey drinkers, people who aren't necessarily Scotch whiskey drinkers, maybe bourbon drinkers looking to try something else, get into Scotch whiskey. It's a great place to go because it really isn't. You know, it's not one that, as Steph says, it's just kind of session whiskey. It's not your big heavy hitter as such that's could potentially put people off. You know, it's not like that.
It's all tropical fruits now with the water in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Little, it's a little herbal, little grassiness, a little bit of earth coming through.
You know, part of the viscosity, and I love to tell this story, when you take a look at the old Pulteney bottle and the shape of the bottle, it's very iconic. And it's for a reason. What this does is it really pays homage to the shape of our wash still, where, you know, legend has it that back around, I don't know, probably, Gordon, I want to say when they were reopening the distillery in the early 50s.
Early 50s. Yeah, 51, 52.
We were having a new wash still produced. Now, remember, keep in mind the locale where we told you we were. And now it's 1952. So this many years ago. And I'm guessing we probably had this big copper beast produced down in Glasgow, I would imagine, an industrial city. It had to be somewhere far south. And I would also imagine that the easiest way to get that still up there was probably to put it on a boat and take it up the eastern coast. Well, they get the still up there and they probably offload it and get it on a cart, drag it up the hill. And as they're going to enter, they're on the distillery grounds, and as they're going to take it into the still house, we realized that they didn't have the luxury of something we have now, and that's a calculator. So they miscalculated the area of the still house, and the still didn't fit.
Ooh.
It was too tall.
I would do that.
Mhm.
If you and I made a distillery, I would miscalculate.
You would.
Well, and mind you, we had been shuttered for 25 years because we had prohibition in Wick, much the same way we did here in America.
Really? I bet you that worked out.
And we needed to open, 25 years, and we needed to get this distillery open to start making whiskey again. All right.
1922 to 1947, Wick was a dry town.
Yeah.
25 years.
Was just Wick? Or
Just Wick.
Just Wick. Yeah, you had to go a couple of miles outside the town to
why
get
did they go dry? For
Yeah,
some-
Well, the town got really rowdy. So what happened was,
How many pubs?
I think that there was the town was split between Pulteney town south of the river and then Wick just north of the river. And combined, I think there were in the region of about 80 pubs for about 80 for about 10 to 12,000 people.
Wow.
And I think actually that Pulteney town actually won. I think they had maybe 41 pubs as opposed to Wick's 40. So that was the better place to be. But as you can imagine, the place got, it's fishing time.
1,000 boats every day coming in with their pay packets.
So people would go out, the fishermen would go out at night to fish, because that's when the herring would come to the surface to spawn. They'd then come back in the morning, they'd get their paychecks, they'd head to one of the pubs. They would, have a good go in the pubs, and then they would go home, see their family, and then go off and do it all over again. So the town got pretty rowdy. So we did some calculations, and the average person in the town at that time, and they wouldn't be drinking like the 12-year-old that we've just had. They would be drinking your moonshine, your New Make Spirit. We're talking 140 proof. They're drinking that, and the average person was drinking half a liter per day.
Ooh. Now, speaking of that,
Hold on.
you
We gotta do
did you warn him about the cowbell?
No, I did not. Cowbell, we got a super chat that came in from the Mashing Drum.
That's not just because of the New Make leader drinking.
Nope. But Jason says, this is awesome. OP12 made me start loving Scotch. Cheers, everyone.
There you go.
Yep.
Sludge, thank you so much.
That was
If
a
you're ever
good
in Brooklyn, look me up. We'll have a dram.
There you go. Yeah,
Now,
Mash
these-
is a fun guy, too.
These people that were drinking half a liter a day, how long did they live?
I said full
Yeah.
liter.
Well, they were fishing at night as well. So, life expectancy was pretty low.
No, that's not what
They
we
go out
got.
and not make it back.
You had to make it up. 120.
Those guys are still around fishing today. That's the one hope.
It's Malcolm's grandfather.
Exactly. Yeah.
Another one.
Oh, Hip Hill
Another super chat from Hoyt came in just because I love Old Pulteney.
with a big thumbs up emoji.
Awesome, thank you. But so the still,
Yeah. So the still went in. It didn't fit, and in true Scottish fashion, we're not going to make another one.
we're not
gonna make
spending
it
any more money.
No. So what we did was we just cut off the top, and we put a line arm out the side. So you don't get your traditional swan neck that you see in other distilleries. You've got a line arm out the side and a flat top. So that all adds to the character of the flavor, as Steph was saying there.
So you figure you've lost about 6 to 8 feet on that swan when you just got the condenser going, the condenser going straight smack into the top. So it comes up in the pot in this really fat onion bulb and boils, but then it doesn't have that extra spot to go to condense. It's like viscous and sticky to start with. We've got a really rich new make. So that's where you get that chewy mouthfeel and all.
Those more heavy, oily vapors get through.
Love it. We've got
Another one real quick
Some more love.
from Bobby Childs over at Adventures in Whiskey. He says, cheers to Old Pulteney.
Boom.
Hey, Bobby Childs. Cheers to you, my friend.
I think I'll be seeing Bobby
Oh,
soon.
gosh darn
Whoa,
it.
Whiskey Dong. He's in Denver.
Whiskey Dong. Yep. He says, just because it's fun when my name is said.
Oh, see, he just likes us to say Whiskey Dong.
Whiskey Dong?
His
So-
name's Don, but the coworkers modified it a little bit, as coworkers do. That's what happened.
So what we got? What do we got? What are your thoughts on the 12? I mean, it's
Oh, yeah, delicious.
Yeah.
man.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
thick, viscous, especially for a 12-year-old, just like you're saying.
Exceeded expectations.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Okay, so we're doing good on the key performance indicators. All right, so now we're going to move along to the 15, which, in full disclosure, before we go any further, is my favorite dram on the table.
Oh, really?
Okay, I'm just going to tell you right now, doesn't need to be your favorite dram. That's the beauty of single malt. Everybody has a different palate. But what I absolutely adore about this one is that balance between the American wood and the European wood. And as you said, that kind of floats right down, your river, and that's where your warehouse. But this spends approximately 12 years of its life in the bourbon cask, ex-American first. Second fill. And then it is further matured. Now, notice I say further matured and not finished. Further matured for an additional 3 years in first fill European sherry butts. Okay. And the difference being finished is anything south of about 2 years, anything north of about 2.5. It's further maturation. So you're getting much more what that wood has to offer at that point in time.
First of all, Steph, I love the way you're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He does.
Okay.
He does.
All right. To that end, what that brings to the table is I think that European oak or a little bit of that Oloroso sherry adds a bit more complexity to this one. But this has just so much of that American. You've got the vanilla, you've got the coconut, you've got the floral, you've got almost this hedonistic tropical fruit thing going on there. And then this next three, this one and actually the fourth surprise, are what I call, and please, I say this with love, the geek trifecta. All natural color, unchilled filtered, 46 ABV. So you get that out of the way for the next bunch of them.
And there's an age statement on there.
And there's an age statement. Well, one of them doesn't, but there's enough of it. And I love that it's a 15-year where you see a lot of distilleries kind of pulling back from that number. We've managed our stocks fairly well, and we have enough, as you said, I'll roll back. It's sustainable. We know that this is going to be a part of our family for a very long time.
Very good. We got Wes Jolly from Colorado Springs. And what does he say?
He says, because of what Whiskey Dong said.
You want to get that name in there one more time?
That's one way to do it.
The very reminiscent of the 12. You can tell they're cousins, but add more berries and the fruits on there.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely still get that sea saltiness. You get that right through the Pulteney range.
This one, I think it's the underside of your tongue. Like after you swallow, will start to water in about 3 seconds. It's like that dry. It gets really dry under your tongue, and then your mouth's going, "Oh, give me another sip of that."
Yeah,
that is, and it even feels heavier if that's right over that 12. I mean, it just really parts that.
Yeah, it's like licking the sea. You can feel like that sea salt actually, like a salt wheel, like licking one of those underneath it in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Buttery.
In a good way.
I no offense, that could have been misconstrued as a bad.
I could have said it was like in a rat wheel or something. Now that would be bad.
Yes, thank you for not saying that. I speak on behalf of the entire international beverage community. Thank you.
Mark's good. We know what he meant.
By the way, I haven't said I have coin 809. By the way,
there you go. That's 810, baby. 810.
Yeah, very nice. The sherry maturation definitely coming through. And what I almost say is almost a little bit of that Bunnahaven saltiness, unpeated type barley maltiness to it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with the malt. Like it's definitely got a nice malty, like there's a lot of cereal note on this one. I get more cereal note on this than I did on the 12. The 12 is just a little stickier and chewier, where this has more of almost like a grape nut quality to it. I love grape nuts, so that's a good thing.
Is there a grape nut wheel?
I don't think so. You know what? I'm putting this guy on it. Next time I come back, I want the grape nut wheel.
There you go.
We will make it.
Get some down at the store. We'll glue it together with something.
You will make it.
We could soak grape nuts in whiskey. It'll be great.
We could.
It'll improve it.
I think that's kind of Scottish breakfast.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, that sounds.
It's like, hey, don't make fun. My grandmother eats that every day.
Now, where's the price point on the 15 going to be at?
$90. Yeah, so south of 100. And I never use the word cheap because I'm still asking you to part with 90 of your hard-earned dollars, but relatively, it's affordable for what it is.
Yeah.
Well, thinking it's probably it's in there. Might be top end of the range of some of the other 15-year-olds that are out there. But for the sherry maturation, you're and 46%.
Yeah,
Delicious.
Yeah.
it's a pretty whiskey. I just spent. I was fortunate enough to be able to take a quick trip down to New Orleans last week for Tales of the Cocktail. And if you've never been, I highly suggest you just do it once for the heck of it. But I got a chance to hang out with Scotch on the Bayou and Adventures in Whiskey. And I have what I call purse whiskey. So if you see me on the street, give me a hug, ask what's in my purse. And it was a flask full of Old Pulteney 15 that everybody got to be treated to in New Orleans. We had a good time.
Very nice. Everwind has a question for you, Steph, and Gordon. Was the basis decision to go from the 17 to the 15 and 18 for market price point as the determining factor? Amount of stocks produced 20 years ago? Does that make sense?
Well, I think there's an element of that, but I think also one of the things we wanted to do is we've had 12-year-old, 17-year-old, 21-year-old. They've been on the market for quite a long time now. We haven't really had anything. We wanted to show the flexibility in the malt as well and show what else we've got going on. So sometimes we just felt it was necessary to give the brand a refresh and just say, we're not really we're not a one-trick pony. This is it's not just the 1721 that were hugely popular and award-winning. So let's show what else we've got. So what else we've got in those warehouses? Steph talked about the 25,000 casks that are in barrels that are sitting there. Let's show them off.
That kind of surprised me when I was looking at the literature again, because it said I think you just had 3 warehouses, which is really kind of small.
There's the warehouses are quite interesting. So we have a combination of racks and palletized racks and old dunnage warehouses as well. So it's we'll get to it with the surprise dram. There's a little bit on the warehousing bit that I'll talk about there for you. So it's but similar to what you guys do over here in America with in Kentucky or wherever, really, it's depending on your place in the warehouse, you will get some different elements from the taste profile as well. And whilst our climate doesn't change the same way as it does over here, we do notice some changes, especially in the likes of a rack warehouse where we're going around 9 high. So, but so Malcolm and the team are constantly kind of monitoring casks from different areas, even just being where we are, just as I said, right on the coast. That's where that sea saltiness comes from. Those casks just breathing in there, just taking in some of that, the climate that they're in. So yeah, very much does determine. But we just wanted to show off what else we've got and what else we have to share with with everyone. Scotch whiskey is hot at the moment. People want to try different things from different distilleries. So we're really fortunate that we're in a position to do that.
And I think too, 110%, but there is some element of sustainability.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. I mean, a year is a year is a year is a year when it comes to Scotch whiskey, and we can't make it go faster. We fill the casks, we tuck them in, we sing them songs, we turn them around every once in a while, take them a little check, make sure they're okay, but we got to wait a year. So, yes, 20 years ago, decisions were made on what to bottle and what was at hand and what we had the ability to do. And now we have to look 20 years down the road. So yeah, we want to show off because we can. We're fortunate enough to be able to, but we also have to consider what we want the next 20 years to look like.
Well, we got
more love. More love came in. 2 of them came in.
The first one from the Scotch for Dummies.
Yeah.
And you've been on their show.
Hey, Scotch for Dummies.
Yeah.
They came from the Fab 4 OP fanboys. Hi, Steph. And then Pit Face Barbecue
$20.
came in with one. He says, for Matt's impeccable ability to color match his shirt to the OP18 box. Enjoying the video and the
I actually picked it to color match that box. That's exactly why I wore purple. I knew that was, the 18, and so you had to match the 18 box. I always do that for my whiskeys.
Perfect.
Now, and I've been careful to say sherry maturation because I just learned about that from you, Steph. Thank you. Instead of saying sherry finished. Was the old 17 and 21, was that a sherry maturation as well, like the new offerings?
Go ahead.
Yeah, they were both a combination.
They were vatting.
Yeah, with the 17 was a vatting, and the 21-year-old was a vatting, but there were also some casks that were from a further maturation as well. So quite similar in that respect, but very different in end result and taste profile. And actually, really funny experiment is to take the new, and if you're able to, if you have the 17, 21, get the new ones, get the 15, get the 18, and try out what we've done and see the differences that what we have now as well.
All right.
Okay, so we're on to the 18.
Okay.
Now, here's what I think. This is where the likes of Malcolm Waring, our master distiller, and Stuart Harvey, our master blender for the entire company, it's when you take a sip of this 18 and you think of what you just drank in that 15 and you see how these guys are able to work magic. Stuart with his ability to select the casks that he's going to vat into the bottle, and Malcolm with his ability to select casks from different parts of the warehouse and see how they'll affect the liquid. Because essentially, if it on its face, it seems as if the only difference, because the wood DNA on these two expressions is the same, but there's more age in the 18. So the 18 is spending about 15 years of its life in second fill bourbon, and then 3 further maturated in the first fill sherry butts. 46, all natural, unchill filtered. Entirely different drams of whiskey.
Really?
Okay, entirely different. And I'm now just going to say, go forth and drink and tell me what you think. I think I should have a shirt made that says that.
What kind of sherry is it?
Oloroso.
2 shirts.
So much
Apparently,
more
one
dark
that
fruits
says
on this
one shirt that says "Go forth and drink," and one that says "Ask me what's in my purse."
Just wear them on different days, depending on my mood.
Bart would wear that shirt too.
I think you need one shirt, one statement coming, and the other one going.
We're losing you guys. You froze up a little bit there.
Uh-oh.
We're good.
No,
It'll
it
come
came
back.
back.
Yep.
It was my double shirt idea.
Yep.
You were censored.
That's
YouTube
right.
censored you.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't enunciate purse well enough. That would be what would be on the front, I think, because you get a lot of attention with that. They'd be like, I got to know what's in the purse. And you'd be like, I have a flat.
I know. There's some days I just don't think I want all that attention, though. I get enough anyway. Usually I'm walking around with a bag of whiskey.
Yeah.
But you see what? Have you tasted this yet?
Nope. Still
Even on the nose.
Still nosing it.
Still knows it.
Yeah, this is one you can nose for. I think you can sit down and just spend
Right.
quite a bit of time just nosing and getting some of the citrus, the saltiness. You said it's different, but it's still on the nose. It's still pretty similar.
It's lighter.
So you take
though. Like almost effervescent.
Watch and learn, boys.
All right, I'll go in.
He's going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh my. Yeah. I'm already perplexed as to why you said the 15 is your favorite.
Because that's my palate. You know, it's funny with these expressions, especially with the new 3, and you'll see when we do the last one, the Huddart. If I were to sit down with 90 people, 30 of them would say the 15 is their favorite, 30 would say 18, and 30 would say Huddart, which that thrills me to no end, because it just says that these guys that are over there that are putting all the blood, sweat, and tears to make sure this stuff gets in a bottle have literally struck magic with this. And even if these guys weren't paying my mortgage, I would say that, because this is stunning whiskey.
It was the same with the 17 and 21 as well. You could always cut the room in half as to who preferred 17.
And 17 was my favorite.
Yeah.
It feels hotter than 46, or I mean, it just feels like a higher ABV than the fifth. They're both.
It's got a longer finish.
Yeah, it's got a lot more. Really, take the 15 and just concentrate it a little bit.
A little drier.
I find it sits more at the back of your throat rather than kind of coming down. It's kind of sits quite high.
For me, rather than the dryness under my tongue, it's the insides of my cheeks that dry up and they water. And I think that's, again, the C just shows up differently in this one than it did in the other two. It will always show up differently. But it's something that I learned, and I had this, I came across this when I was speaking with the Scotch 4 Dummies and Malcolm Waring, and he was educating them or talking to us about how these casks were pulled from different parts of the warehouse and how that makes a difference because there's a different microflora going on in these different parts of the warehouse. And I nodded and smiled and said, yeah. I'm like, what the? And after it was all over, I said, what are you talking about, you crazy man? And he said, come on, let me show you. And as we walked into the warehouse, he said, now I want you to think about what you're feeling and what you're smelling and touch the walls. The spot where some of the casks for the 15 are coming is completely different from the spot where some of the 18 casks. And as I drink these whiskeys, I can feel that and I can taste that. So it's just a different breed of cat.
Now, see, and I'm with you, Steph. I lean. This is great, but I'm leaning toward the 15. I like the thicker, more viscous. That
this one's much drier to me.
Yeah,
so it's got a drier.
Scott at the moment today. I'm leaning towards the 18 at the moment. It says.
Yeah.
Where do you weigh in? You can't be the silent majority.
I still have to try the other ones. I can't tell you where I fit until we try them all.
Where'd you fit with these two?
They're totally different. They're really not similar at all for me. I mean, this one's, like I said, is nice. They're both salty, but salt in different places, underneath, over. And then this one's got that really dark fruits, whereas that's more of the tropical fruits. There's just a vast. They're both really good.
One for
Matt made a commitment.
One for before dinner, one for after dinner.
Exactly. It's dessert whiskey.
I think Matt's right on. Andy's wearing purple.
No, hold on. Just say, Matt, you made a commitment to your wife when you got married. Now make a commitment on a freaking whiskey.
See, this is what I got to deal with.
Yeah, I didn't push you that far.
Yeah, that's what I got to deal with over here.
Sounds like a personal problem to me, Bart.
You said pick a whiskey. Just pick a whiskey. Pick it.
I do this every night. What are you talking about? This is a difficult decision every day. I mean, so my wife will tell me to go pick a whiskey, and I'll come back 30 minutes later.
Put 4 bottles in his arm.
I couldn't choose one.
You know what I did get though, as Steph, as you was talking, was I did get a little bit of like a Dunnage Warehouse. Just a little bit more of that age on this, on the finish, on the tail end. It took it a while, but it kicked in and I got it.
It's just, I think both of these whiskeys just, there's a different occasion for me of when I'm going to drink them. There's a different mindset. There's a different mood. In fact, I would go so far as to say, and this is just my personal thing, there's different music that I'm listening to when I have these, you know, the 15, I've got Tom Petty all day. The 18, I've got Muddy Waters.
Well, yeah, okay. I would say I would drink the 15 when I ran out of the 18.
You need to hang around with me more.
This is one I could. The nose on this, I get all these nice creamy caramels.
Yeah.
Almost like a vanilla bean ice cream with hot caramel fudge.
Yeah,
that's because Matt said dessert whiskey. So you're imagining what your next dessert is going to taste like.
Well, plus this is summertime whiskey. This is wintertime whiskey. So I think about them. It's just the different fruit and heaviness of, you know, I think the sherry comes out more on that. So even though it's the same amount of sherry,
you can definitely sherry is
thicker of the sherry on that one.
Yeah, if you're a sherry bomb fan.
And as full disclosure, I'm not a sherry bomb fan. I'm all about that American oak, that ex-bourbon. Love it, love it, love it.
Yep. Good so far. 18, definitely my favorite.
So far.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get the last one, before we get to the special dram, I think was a sheer stroke of genius. This is the Huddart. And what Huddart, as I'm sure is going to be the question that will be asked, is that's the street that the distillery sits on in Wick. So we're located on Huddart Street in Wick. I don't know if you're familiar with, a couple of years ago, we produced a limited edition vintage called the 1989 Old Pulteney, which won crazy awards and was much sought after, and it's considered a unicorn to these days. Yeah. Well, this whiskey was the inspiration for this Huddart was that 1989 vintage.
Really?
And what separates this one from the pack, first of all, it's non-age statement, but it's still 46 ABV and it's still all natural color. But the big kicker is it spends its life second fill American bourbon, but it's finished in heavily peated casks.
All right. I'm excited.
I need to flip over.
Love the peat. So I will say it is not, because the malt is not peated, but this has got enough of that. It's not acrid. We're using Highland peat. So you really, I think, I've not seen the peat on this burn, but it's not going to be super black and acrid like you can see when you get down to some of those heavier Isla peats, like when you get into watching the peat fire at Ardbeg. I think you're going to get a lighter smoke on this, but not quite as light as, say, Orkney peat, which burns almost white. So it sits kind of dead in the middle. But there was enough phenol left in that wood to make a considerable impression on this whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're a big peat bomber, I want to, in full disclosure, you're not going to be,
it's not a huge peat.
But it is exactly the place to go when you want just that influence, or for somebody who is looking to tap dance into peat.
There you go. I call it the tiptoe.
There you go. Tiptoe. Do we have any more of it, or did you-
Tiptoe instead of the two.
There's some more over there too.
Yeah. This is like a creamy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
We wouldn't leave you out.
I was like, where's my whiskey?
Hey, Matt, you've got
Like, enough of these guys.
a hand model over there.
I'm sorry?
Matt has a hand model that's just handing in the whiskey. Who is that?
That's Gordon.
Now somebody
Oh.
Over there, I don't know. It's probably Will over here.
That was my hand popping in.
Oh, we got to see Will.
getting the beard
I'm
back.
here. I'm just off camera. There's
Get the
enough
beard back.
some people, but not all people. So
That was a good hand. The hand struck my attention.
It was very feminine.
Well, it was.
I thought maybe it was Sarah's
feminine
hand.
done in a
The
strong.
lack of the beard. That's the problem. There's no bacon grease to the beard this time.
my hands got smaller.
They were very close to the camera.
That is a different nose.
Yeah, you almost said.
Yeah.
But being glad to see as well, you think of Isla, that's, you think peated whiskey, you think of Isla, it's coastal. You get a lot of the coastal notes coming through. Pulteney, we get the coastal notes, but there's no peat. So we thought, the spirit really lends itself to that, a little bit of peat as well. But we've never really gone down that route at all, other than the 1989 vintage, as Steph said. And I have seen a few bottles that are still kicking around in the States.
Yeah, if you see one, do yourself a favor and buy it.
Yeah,
It is,
really.
it's precious, and it's about $2.29.
Yeah, and in 2016, it won the World Whiskey Awards, World's Best Whiskey. So
Now, has Old Pulteney, have they ever peated their own barley?
no,
Centuries.
yeah. Well, they would have,
like
long time ago.
long.
but not,
I mean, in fact,
not in recent times.
In fact,
Yeah.
the spot in the warehouse where we pulled some of these casks for the 18, that sat above where the malting or the peat kiln was, and you can still see the black
Really?
on the wall
Yeah.
of the warehouse.
That's awesome.
But when the distillery started back up in the early 50s, we didn't have our own kiln anymore. We were sourcing our own barley from them. So.
I get malt, a little bit of citrus, salt, and a slight peat, and oak.
Yeah, very soft peat.
Yeah.
It's a creamy peat compared to a heavy iodine peat.
Yeah, this
for
is
sure.
not. It's not acrid. It's not iodine-y. I mean, it's Highland peat, so clearly, the vegetation that's decomposing to become that peat is not. It's grass.
Yeah.
It's not wood heavy. It's not got seaweed. It's not.
Yeah, you're right.
Nice.
Wow.
You said creamy. It's very creamy. It's like strong vanillas.
There's more peat on the palate than I expected, though, from the nose.
Well, that's what
it's in the nose, and then you get it. You're like, wow.
Okay, where'd that come
A lot more
from?
than that.
Yeah.
But for me, it just hangs around the palate. It's not a big peat finish. I just don't feel bombarded with it.
Yeah,
I was-
it's very nice. Very nice.
I enjoy peated whiskies, but it has to be the right occasion for me. So it's not that often that I go to it. I love this because I feel it's just in that sweet spot for me.
It's like when you're out of all the other
Probably
whiskey.
got maybe like a 4-5 ppm
Yeah,
on it.
something like that.
And again, the malt's not peated. It's from a finish. Now, this is a finish, not a further maturation in heavily peated casks.
Now, see, I think I would say it's higher than 4 or 5 because what Highland Park is like 10 to 15.
4.
Is it 4? Is it that low? Yeah. This is higher. This is quite a bit higher than that. It tastes like anyway.
I think that probably the answer to that is the difference in peat, where they're using strictly the Orkney peat, which is all heather. I mean, that's all that is. I mean, the only thing there is to decompose up there on that peat hill is heather. So it's very floral and very light. Here, again, we go back to Highland peat, where we're talking a little bit of wood, but mostly like grass. So you're probably you get more wood than you do floral in this. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There's a nice balance of citrus, vanilla, peat, oak. It's all.
It's all that American oak.
This is one I'd say since we relaunched globally, the people have been really excited by this and really surprised by it. It's exactly what you did there, Scott, as well. I've been at plenty of shows where people are nosing it and thinking, yeah, there's a little bit of peat there, and then they taste it. And, oh wow, like I'm getting way more than I thought here. This is wow, it's really good, interesting.
And that we were able to slide something in there that's got a peat on it. We're able to invite that palate into our core range, which we have not been able to do in the past.
Yeah, a drop of water definitely opens up the peat for you, though.
Yeah,
Sure.
I skipped right to the water. I was like, "Ooh, forgot about how much."
Now, I don't think we discussed price on the 18 or this. Where are we at?
Yeah, the 18 is about 150. 100. I'm going to say top end 150. Depends on when you are. It could be 140, 135. Depends where you are in the market. The Huddart is going to retail for about 65.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah. So I never say, hey, they're cheap, go out and buy them, because that's still a lot of money, but still very affordable for these ages and in this range.
Very much so. Keeps it in the approachable realm, both palate and in all.
Excuse me, I'm going to look to the side. What do you need?
Is there an age?
No, it's a non-age statement.
I didn't see
Yeah,
them.
that's
I
okay.
just wanted to ask them.
Yeah.
No.
And
non-age.
from our questions over here, we had, is there an age? The
You
non-age statement.
It does. It doesn't feel or taste young. If there's there's no youth to it, so it's been aged long enough. It's picked up plenty of the barrel character. To me, it's very similar to a 10, 12-year-old Scotch, at least somewhere in that range on the palate.
And I hand over my heart. I do not know, and we don't know what the age is, because I purposely said it's a moot point to me, because either if it's a non-age statement, it's a non-age statement. Saying it's between this and that ceases to exist. Is the liquid in the bottle good? Why, yes, it is. I will drink it. Is the liquid in the bottle not good? Why, no, I will not drink it. So that's my view on non-age statement. And I think if distilleries, and we've seen, I think, amazing things in the past 5-7 years, starting with non-age statements, that if you put good stuff out, the number doesn't matter, ceases to exist.
I mean, if you think non-age statements as well, that you're effectively taking distillery managers and distillers, taking the handcuffs off them and saying, "Go
Have fun.
Let's see what you can do." Because every cask is different, so they don't have to
Go to a recipe.
They're not restrained. They don't have to wait for a specific age. They can really go, you know what, this is fantastic. It's 4 years old, but it's fantastic. Let's see what you want to do with it.
Yeah,
So
Some of the best whiskeys I've drank in my life were like 8 or 11. What the hand bottling of Old Pulteney that we did was in 11 years.
Yeah.
Backflips over that stuff.
Yeah.
Bart
So
loves
just-
8-year-olds.
Oh yeah, 8-year-old Pete.
Whiskey.
Good. Yeah.
5 years
Thank you for the clarification.
But this is
I just
tasty.
always say it's fun to see.
I like that.
You got to have
Isn't
your
that pretty?
USP and what
My favorite.
what are we really trying to communicate?
See, we tried to push you, and there you went. He said the Huddart might be his favorite.
There we go.
That's what we
Oh.
get for trying to push him into this. But I love that we all landed somewhere different.
You know, the thing is, though, and there's a lot of people out there that aren't going to drink NASs, non-age statements.
Why?
And we say you're missing out on a lot of good whiskey if you refuse to drink.
If you want to keep drinking whiskey,
yeah.
The cold hard fact of the matter
There
is,
isn't going to be any.
I mean, we like 12 or 15 years ago, as an industry, we didn't realize you all were going to start bathing in the stuff. So our bottling plans were a little bit skewed.
I didn't know the camera was on back then.
If you need to drink it, then you might want to pull your blinders back or your little nose blinders back and, have a drink, because it's got to be there. It's got to be what sustains.
I don't know. Bathing in whiskey sounds pretty good. I like this plan.
Yeah.
I like a swimming pool of whiskey be even better.
Yep,
We're
we're
gonna
going
do
to
At a 110-degree Dallas day. That's what I want to puddle around in.
2 weeks,
go-
Matt. We'll see you bathe in whiskey.
Go back in August.
Right.
Good God.
Yeah.
I came from first New Orleans, and then it was 110 on Sunday in Brooklyn.
Wow.
So I'm like, it was
Lovely.
god awful. I'm enjoying this fan more than you know. All right, are you ready to go on to the special dram?
Yes.
I need a little piece of cheese.
We are ready.
We should have bacon.
Cheese break.
Yeah.
Oh, bacon.
We need bacon.
There you go.
I'm gonna have some bacon. I said I wasn't gonna eat there, but I'm having.
If you haven't tried the bacon, you got it really good. Good.
I know Gordon
Between
has
your
some
hands.
whiskey.
Right.
Now he's eating bacon.
I'm surprised. I wouldn't have thought it would be.
The fat. I think the fat in there.
I've ate more bacon tonight than I do on Sunday mornings.
Really? What do you have in there? Apple butter?
That's a fig
Mm.
for the cheese and the crackers,
Isn't bacon good?
Mhm.
So
like a jelly.
this is, in fact, part of the core range now. We do consider it, but it's not something we just break out for everybody. But because, like I said, I feel like I've known you guys for so long, and we've just finally got together to drink virtual whiskey together,
Amen.
that I wanted to share this one with you. So this is a little of the magical Old Pulteney 25-year-old. And yay for 25 years. And we just got to drink the non-age statement, but now let's have some 25-year-old. This has the similar wood DNA as we did with the 15 and the 18, where significant portion of its life, probably like 20 years?
Yeah, it's about 2021.
2021 in second fill bourbon, and then further matured for the final 4 or 5 in first fill sherry butts. 46, all natural color, unchill filtered. I think with this one, in my opinion, in my palate's opinion, at any rate, there's a lot of similarities between this and the 18. You get the dryness of the sherry, you get the,
Steph actually touched on one of the key points that I was going to rate when we got here was we talked about the different areas within the warehouses, and there's the wall down, I think it's warehouse number 3. And as you walk down the warehouse, traditional dunnage warehouse, you literally feel the climate change. It gets more damp, it gets more musty, and that's when you get down to the wall, which backs onto what would have been the old kiln, and that wall has never dried out. So
Not in centuries.
Malcolm said the climate here is just amazing. So he said you feel that. So when after this kind of 21 years in the second fill bourbon barrels, when he's re-racked into the first fill Oloroso butts, he's put the casks down there for those kind of 4 or 5 years, and you will get that in the flavor profile. I kind of touched on a couple of the notes there that I get. I haven't got yet.
you don't get anything.
Yeah, I don't get anything at the moment. But.
Well, I poured some, and then I had to go back and pour just a little bit more after I nosed it, because the nose on this is phenomenal.
I love this. I think it's a really, really interesting, fascinating dram. Wow.
Yeah, the age is showing, all of the citrus, the fruits.
Very citrus.
The
Get a little bit more of that earthy mustiness.
Yeah,
well.
because having just a couple of months ago, I was standing in that part of the warehouse, and now every time I stick my nose into a 25 or an 18, I'm like, I just know exactly where these butts came from.
When you go, ask Malcolm to show you that area. You literally walk halfway down. You go, I can start to feel it change.
The nose, everything changes. Like it's the atmosphere. And he'll go on forever about microclimates.
Velvety, smooth mouthfeel.
Oh my!
rich.
That 25 years, all those tannins are kicking in. They take
I
over
get a little
your
bit
palate.
of fig, sweet fig.
Mm. The kind of the age, the older the rose petal sherry finish or even aging is kicking in a little bit on that.
No, I have that.
Nice finish, full, sweet. Kitchen's your all spices.
That is good.
You don't need to say much about this one.
Yeah,
does
this
it
one
for-
you just sit back and drink. And this is not one that I would be picking up every day of the week. I wouldn't be saying, well, I'm done with laundry. Let's go drink some OB 12.
That sounds like
but-
a good time after laundry.
Well, no, laundry is the OB 12. But I got whiskey for every occasion. Don't even get me started. Days of the week, I got them all plotted out. But this is an occasion. This is something special.
Mm.
And you figure 25 is the youngest malt we've used to produce this. It could conceivably be, well, considering how long Malcolm's been there, he probably laid them all down. Yeah. But, 10 years from now, when we're starting at a 25, whoever's drinking that is lucky enough when they're around will have been produced by somebody that's no longer with us. And I just think that's just mind blowing to me that we get to sit and enjoy the fruits of this. And this is what it tastes like.
Hold on, Matt. Matt's getting ready to commit.
Yeah, that's the best one. That's
Are you sure?
whiskey. That's the good stuff. This is what whiskey but dreams smell like. It's all good.
Face palm.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's good stuff.
Mm. Well, hey, we're coming up right on our hour. Steph and Gordon, how long have you guys worked with Old Pulteney? I know. Steph, at least you work with several other brands as well. Gordon, do you?
Yeah, so I work for International Dairy Shows. We got Old Pulteney, we got Speyburn as our flagship over here. So we got some really exciting things going on with Speyburn just now for sure. Anok, Balblair, yeah, and then we also have on the white spirit side we've got Karun Gin as well. Yeah, so we have 5 distilleries.
So we work across the portfolios. Then we have some spirits out of Thailand that we also deal with. But I mean, I'm the whiskey chick. For you already know. You follow me on Instagram. Anybody that would like to, I'm fun on Instagram with my cats and my whiskey. But I am. I don't lie.
You can sometimes work out what Steph's going to have in her purse as well.
Yeah, if you pay attention on Instagram, you could probably figure out what I'm going to show up with in my purse. But so I work across the whiskeys, and I cover the entirety of the United States, which is a little bit hard because I'm one. But thank God I've got some folks that have my back and my brand's back when I'm not in, as Austin and Dallas does here. But I love this sort of thing because then I get to talk to everybody all at one time and drink whiskey with a whole slew of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you. And Matt, thank you for including us in this. It's been awesome. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I
for
hope
having
you
us,
enjoyed the whiskey.
Oh, very much. So.
Yeah,
very
absolutely,
much. Yeah, it was
absolutely.
Tour de force
So good. I saw our numbers. We were up over 100 people watching
live. Yeah.
So
we were at
good audience
103.
tonight. And
all the love coming in for Old Pulteney.
Steph, you said you're whiskey chick on Instagram. Gordon, are you on Instagram or Twitter?
I am, but I need to double check what my handles are.
Yeah, clearly who's the digital marketer in this?
There you go. That's him too. I'm with you.
No E in whiskey.
Whiskey chick.
Like there's no E in Ridgway. No E in Ridgway. No E in whiskey.
All right. Well, hey, thanks you guys for joining us, and thanks everybody that tuned in. Appreciate it.
That's right, Scott. You
Son.
Slanja.
Dummies. See you guys.